All right, so 1 through 4, this is number 1. This is 4C number 1. So solving with the quadratic formula. So number 1, we have, let's keep that a positive, so we minus 3. I know I lined those up, but those are not like terms, so don't confuse those. Minus 3 equals 0, so a is 4, b is negative 3, and c is negative 3. So also I can't confuse that. So we have x equals the opposite of b is 3 plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c. No.
Oh, okay. I need scissors.
Times 2 times a. I'm recording this though.
Oh.
So we have 3 plus or minus negative 3 squared is 9. 4 times 3. Well, negative 4 times 4 times negative 3 is a positive 48 over 8. All I do in this next step is 48 plus 9 is 57 divided by 8. And 57, breaking that down, can we break it down? That's a number we don't typically work with, so I divide by 3. So square root of 57 does break down into 19 and 3, but the 19 doesn't break down. That's a prime number, and 3 is a prime number. So 57 technically, that's it. You can keep it like this, but realize that we have 3 plus the square root of 57 divided by 8 is the solution, and x equals 3 minus the square root of 57 divided by 8. Those are both actual solutions. That's what the plus minus here means. There are 2 solutions within it. All right, number 2. Let's use green. So a is positive, so I'm going to move the c term. We have n squared minus 10n plus 25 and equals 0. So now it equals 0. We have our a is 1, b is negative 10, and c is 25. So if you want to circle those, make you feel better, perfect. So we have x equals the opposite of b, so 10 plus or minus the square root negative 10 squared minus 4 times a times c. Carry that square root so we know everything underneath the square root. 2 times a. Go up top here. I'm going to simplify the 10. Negative 10 squared is 100. Negative 4 times 1 times 25 is a negative 100. Okay. 2 times 1 is 2. Then I do 100 minus 100. Well, 100 minus 100 is 0. Sweet. Square root of 0. How do we simplify that? Well, that's just 0. And once we get to no longer square roots, we can break this down. We have 10 plus 0 divided by 2. Well, that ends up being 5. And you'll also have 10 minus 0 divided by 2. Oh, that's also 5. So that means there's really only one solution. It's 5, and this is a double. So if you're looking at it's a double solution. If you're looking at a graph, it actually would just come down, and the minimum or maximum point would hit the x-axis at 5. All right, well, it looks like all of these you just have to add the number. That's kind of crazy. So, or add the constant. So we have our a is 1, 4, 7, b is 4, c is 3. Let's substitute those in. Opposite of b plus or minus b squared minus 4 times a times c. Those of you who were listening earlier, that was a guest appearance by my wife. So we have 4 squared is 16, and 4 times 7 is 28. 28 times 3 is 84, so minus 84. There's only one subtraction there. Over 2 times 7 is 14. We have x equals negative 4. 16 minus 84. I don't feel like doing that in my head today. Negative 68. All right, we're dealing with negatives, so that means we're going to have an imaginary. Let's see here, square root of negative 68. So we have the negative is going to come out as I. The 68 is 34 and 2, 17 and 2. So you have a pair of 2s. So it's going to end up being 2I squared root of 17 over 14. And then the last step is to look at, can you simplify those three terms, the coefficients question? Yes, we can. Divide them all by 2. And you might be thinking, well, what does that 1 do there? Well, 1 times I is I, so it really just kind of simplifies out. And we have there's two solutions here. If you want to write it out, you certainly can. It's a negative 2 plus I squared root of 17 divided by 7, and negative 2 minus I squared root of 17 divided by 7. Those are your two solutions that would be there. All right, last problem. Getting kind of crazy with all what I have written here. So we have 6x squared plus x minus 5 equals 0. So A is 6, B is 1, and C is negative 5. So x equals opposite of B. So B is 1, so it's negative 1. 1 squared minus 4 times A times C. All over 2 times A. Simplify just the 1 squared. 4 times 6 times negative 5, I don't know, it's your 4. Negative 4 times 5 is 20, times 6 is 120, so plus 120 over 12. Well, this seems foolish, but math is all about continuing. Once you understand steps, just keep with them. Square root of 121. That's 11 times 11. So that's just equals 11. So let's plug that in. Negative 1 plus or minus 11 divided by 12. Well, no more square roots, so we can actually break this into two problems. So x is going to equal negative 1 plus 11 divided by 12, which is 10 divided by 12, which we can reduce down to 5. 6, divide numerator and denominator by 2. We also have a negative 1 minus 11 divided by 12. Why do I keep writing that? Negative 12 divided by 12 is 1. Negative 1. So there's our two solutions. And there is solving quadratics by the quadratic.